In many ways, board games have never been as popular as they are today. I mean, all you need to do is walk into any hobby board game shop on the corner and see that there are literally hundreds upon hundreds of games to choose from. I mean, the options are practically limitless. The Old King's Crown, Hot Streak, Gold Country, The Fate of the Fellowship. Oh, there's a new Vital Lacerda game that's been announced. Oh, a new Dune game is released, and there's a new 20-pound box you can crowdfund on Kickstarter for $200 plus $50 in shipping and receive it to play in 2029. There are 1,000 board games released every year, and yet we are bombarded by the select few that the system has deemed clickable. We're told that we can't miss out, which creates the fear of missing out. And at the end of the day, it is impossible to be able to budget your time or your money to be able to play all of these games. You know, it's funny, we're so scared of missing out. You hear FOMO brought up in the hobby all the time, and yet we are missing out constantly. Every day you focus on a new game that is plastered across your feed, you're missing out on 10 other board games that you like better and have been released for years. These are the games that barely anyone is telling you to play, or they're not telling you to play anymore. They're the games that are waiting patiently for you to find them. And the bitter reality here is that if you should have any fear of missing out, it should be missing out on the games that people aren't talking about or aren't talking about enough, because pretty soon they might be out of print. And then you won't be able to play them. You won't be able to find them without paying egregious amounts on the secondary market. Which is all a long-winded way of saying I'm not here telling you about 5 new games you should be buying today. Today I'm talking about 5 games that waited patiently for me to find them. 5 games I wasn't ready for. And it all starts with not a hidden gem, but a classic that for years Carlo and others had sang the praises of, and I never felt quite ready for. I never felt patient enough for. But I do now, and Carcassonne was worth the wait. The first time I played Carcassonne, the feeling I was left with in the days after was indifference. I draw a tile, I place the tile. It can sometimes feel as though it has no impact on anything going on. Sometimes I place a meeple, and that's it. It felt almost passive, like there's a game happening near you, but not because of you. I would look at the tile in my hand, and I would often be disappointed by the places that I could put it. I played Carcassonne on and off over years, at different player counts, online, in person, always leaving with the same thought. I just don't see the appeal. It took me 11 years after playing Carcassonne for the first time to realize and accept that I had been coming at Carcassonne all wrong. Carcassonne tries to teach you something, and it's almost rude in how quietly it teaches it to you. Or maybe it was loud and I was just too distracted to hear the shouting. We're not just building a board together. We're having a conversation. And in the 2-player game, that conversation becomes more focused, clearer. There's no crowd noise, no chaos to hide behind. Just you, one other person, and a map that remembers everything you've both said so far. The best conversations are the ones where you're listening to the other person, not just thinking about what you want to say next. It's not about the tile that's in your hand and what you do with it. It's about the conversation happening on the table and how you contribute. Every road extended is an invitation. Every city left open is a potential threat. Every farmer placed is a long-term commitment. Carcassonne rewards those who listen well and respond thoughtfully. But more than anything, Carcassonne rewards patience. But Carcassonne is full of possibilities waiting to test your patience. A meepleless city begging for you to stake your claim. A field ripe for the taking. Your opponent's city running wildly uncontested. A monastery in the perfect spot to put it. A road you could close and score for, but help your opponent close off a monastery. At the same time, a city of your own you could extend for more points. But wait, maybe you don't extend it because you could close it off if you draw the right tile next turn. You have one tile you can place. One tile at a time. But the problem is, I'm impatient, especially when I'm scared or under pressure. I'd rather just have my answer now, even if I don't like it, just to get the anxiety of it all over with. And there's this ticking clock always there in the back of your mind, steadily decreasing opportunities to gain those valuable points. And the hardest part is there are so many unknown possibilities. With so many tiles, you never know what you or your opponent are going to draw into. which means you never know how long you have to contest for their city before they find the right piece to close it, if they do at all. You don't know which of you is going to find the next monastery tile first to place in that lucrative spot on the map. You just don't know what's coming, for you or anyone else. But it's always one tile at a time, and over time you get better at recognizing the types of tiles that can emerge. You remember what your options are, you rely on what you know, what you can anticipate, and you prepare for the variables and the things that you can't control as best as you can. Some games you just know right away. This game is not for you. Innovation is one of those games. Innovation was one of those games. On the surface, innovation is aggressively functional. The icons look like they were printed by a government office that's perpetually understaffed. Everything is stark, has this utilitarian minimalism, like a civilization built out of sticky notes and warning labels. A game of innovation starts quietly with cards like agriculture, pottery, domestication. You tuck them into piles carefully and cautiously, like arranging the beginnings of a life. The early ages are manageable, almost hopeful. But be patient. Innovation says that it's a game about building a civilization, about progress, about advancement. But more often than not, it feels like a game about negotiating against chaos, yours and your opponent's. The card you draw next might be writing, opening up early new possibilities on how to take your civilization to the next stage. Or it might be currency, causing you to consider forfeiting what you've been building up for money now, not later. Every card ability is a promise, but with a catch. If you have invested more than your opponent in a particular icon, you alone get to undertake that dogma ability. But if they've kept pace, they also benefit and could grow along with you. There's this constant pressure to move forward, advance, innovate, accelerate, advance, make money, get points, move forward, get more icons, get new icons, abandon old icons, innovate, advance, progress, advance to the next stage, achieve. And yet at times the players who thrive in innovation are the ones who know when to stop sprinting and when to be patient, who know when to sit in an era longer than feels comfortable, resisting the temptation to blindly climb the ages just because their opponent is doing so, or because everyone else is telling them that they should. It's a strange lesson in patience for a game about progress. So much in the world is shouting at us to accelerate, to always be looking at what points you're gaining now, not the potential for what you'll gain later. Or trying to convince us that everything we do comes down to scoring, that it's all about winners and losers, and if you're not winning, you're losing. That it doesn't matter if you're making money, it matters if you're making more money. And we all need to make more money and more money and more money and more money. But it's important to remember that sometimes you don't need to advance or rush ahead. Sometimes you just need to focus on the actions in front of you. Focus on what you've already built. Protect, guard, and reinforce those powers so you can sustain them as long as you can. Because there's no telling when someone might come in and blow everything up. The hardest part of trying to lean into your passion, of trying to do something really meaningful from the soul, is how it can often feel like the entire world is trying to stop you, trying to distract you, trying to provide you with easier ways forward. Whatever that means in 2026. How hard it is to try and make something real, genuine, authentic, while your thoughts keep splaying in every direction. In innovation, a splay right or a splay up is clean, almost always valuable. It's controlled, deliberate. In life, it's more like dragging a stack of half-formed ideas or decisions across an already cluttered table and trying to make something out of it. And as the game shifts in the later ages, so does the tone. Gunpowder, industrialization, democracy, explosives, corporations, mass media, robotics, AI. Cards that shaped entire civilizations become tools to dismantle your neighbor's plans in seconds. Progress becomes disruption. Advancement becomes turbulence. You start to feel as if the future is always arriving too early, and then no one is prepared properly. Sometimes you get hit by a neighbor's dogma effect and you lose half your board, and you spend the next several turns rebuilding, clawing back, trying new tactics, adopting a new strategy. And sometimes those strategies don't work. You can't seem to find the cards. You can't seem to score points. You can't seem to stop your opponent's engine from destroying all your aspirations and goals. And it makes you frustrated. It makes you angry. It makes you livid. It makes you never want to play this stupid, horrible game ever again. So why do I keep coming back to it? Not for the theme, not for the aesthetics. No, it's for the gentle reminder, buried underneath all the noise and the chaos, that real progress takes the one thing none of us feel like we can afford lately: patience. In innovation, you often don't win by controlling the future, you win by enduring it, by accepting uncertainty, finding ways to use it as a resource. That's what I'm trying to do now. And maybe that's what we're all trying to do now in this noisy, chaotic, horrible, amazing game that we're all playing. Figure out our next step. Play something useful. Sometimes you don't have to leap forward. Sometimes you just have to survive the age you're in. And that's enough. For now, until you draw the next card and see what it brings. And sometimes you go back to the beginning. Before all the noise, before I was creating board game content or letting that color what games I bought, before I learned about BGG and looking up how good a game is, I did something unthinkable. I bought a game I knew nothing about simply because I thought it looked interesting, threw it in my cart and ordered it among a slew of others without another thought. Not because I looked up reviews and ratings, not because someone told me I had to, just because. That game was Biblios. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know that some people considered it a classic filler, or that it was originally called Scripts and Scribes, or that it would eventually become one of those small box titles people whisper about together, treat like it's a secret handshake. Back then, I didn't have a curated sense of taste or an internalized rating system. I wasn't thinking, will this hold up in 2026? I just saw a game, thought it looked interesting, and bought it. And that naivety wasn't embarrassing, it was liberating. I played it once at 2 players, the least ideal player count for Biblios, and then didn't play it again for over a year. It sat on my shelf, patiently waiting for me, for when I was ready for it. Biblios is a game of 2 halves, the quiet drafting of the monastery and the noisy auction that comes after. In the drafting phase, you're evaluating card after card, deciding what you want to keep for yourself, what you will reluctantly pass off to your opponents, and what you'll defer to later when you might have the resources needed to acquire it. And in the auction phase, you're taking everything you've given yourself, built for yourself, taken for yourself, and utilizing it to claim valuable, limited points, while also learning and understanding what you need to let go of. Biblios teaches you about scarcity and careful timing. You're not only managing the cards and where they go, you're managing dice values that determine whether those cards are even worth your time at all. Biblios begs you to notice that green cards are only worth 1 point right now. So if you're going to focus on winning green, you better also have a plan to make it more valuable and worth your limited time. We love 2-phase games here at All You Can Board. I love 2-phase games. The first phase directly impacts how the second phase goes, and that second phase directly impacts how you'll approach the first one the next time you play. It's a conversation being had, and the more you pay attention, the better you get at participating in it. But try as you might in that first phase, you just don't know what order the cards will inevitably come out in. What other cards people have clogged up the deck with. And sometimes even when you prepare as best you can for what you know is coming, someone outbids you anyway. Much like Civolution was a safe place for me to face the overwhelm of endless possibilities, Biblios is a safe place to witness cause and effect in action. And it feels like a reprieve when I visit it, a pause. A reminder about how special simple moments of discovery are. A reminder of just how good so many older games are. Biblios is something I happily return to when everything else starts to feel Too fast, too loud, too angry, too chaotic, too prescriptive, too mean, too awful, too horrible, too overwhelming, too disheartening, two phases. Biblios is a reminder to let games find you. Let the feelings find you. Be patient enough to experience your own reactions before the rest of the world tells you how to feel. Curiosity can be enough. Naivety isn't a flaw, it's the place where discovery lives. Patience isn't always about slowing down. Sometimes it's about remembering who you were before the noise, in the previous phase, and giving that person a chance to speak again. A simple card game from 2007 that, unfortunately, you can't buy anymore because it's out of print. You can't fear missing out because you already did. Key Harvest is a game that's nearly 20 years old and somehow still feels new. Because it is new. It's new to me. It's a game I found secondhand. Like a card passed to a neighbor, not kept for yourself. Playing Key Harvest, it reminds me that some experiences don't rush to meet you. They arrive at their own pace. Key Harvest tasks you with gathering tiles, placing them in your fields, cultivating and harvesting resources. But you can also put tiles up for sale. Unlike Biblios, these aren't free, they come with a cost. You're testing your opponents to see how much they want what you have to offer. And when they don't take you up on it, you can either let these tiles sit there, hoping someone buys them on a future turn, or you can take it for yourself. Maybe you put it up for yourself in the first place. But you can't just take your own tiles. You can't just focus on providing for yourself. There's a necessary, almost cooperative element to Key Harvest, where helping someone else still helps you. They get a tile, you get resources. Key Harvest shows you that value sometimes comes from circulating care, from building things side by side one another, even when you're not building it together, and even when you're competing with each other or at odds with each other. I'm treating Key Harvest the same way I treated games before I knew enough to overthink them. Slowly, patiently, before I was also thinking about what kind of videos I wanted to make about the game, and when I wanted those videos to release or when I needed them to release. The most viewed video on our entire channel is a how to play video for Lost Ruins of Arnak. Maybe you've seen that before, maybe you knew that, but what you don't know is that I shot that video one day after my ex-fiance and I decided to separate. I didn't give myself space, I didn't give myself time, I thought I needed to keep producing, and so I forced myself to film that video. In contrast to all the external noise that exists, this was internal noise. There was no one telling me I had to do this. I was telling myself I had to. I knew what it was like to have creators or channels that I would rely on when I was struggling at different points in my life. And now we were receiving emails telling us that we had become that for others. Become an escape from the pain or the hardships they were facing in their own lives. Something that I truly can't put into words efficiently enough to describe how it made me feel. And so I felt accountable to that. And so I set up the camera, hit record, and tried to hold myself together long enough to explain card actions and temple tracks. Every time I watch that video, I can see how much I'm struggling behind my eyes, whether or not that's obvious to anyone else. I see someone who needed to stop, who needed to rest, who needed to accept that everything wouldn't collapse if he took a pause, if he was patient. And fast forward to just this last month, even to today, I'm putting the same kind of pressures on myself all the time. To produce, to progress, to make money now, not later. Because now the pressures aren't only internal, they're external too. The noise is louder than ever. Key Harvest asks you to live in the uncertainty of not knowing when that one-of tile you need will show up. When an event tile might emerge and bring with it new opportunities. It asks you to accept that when a valuable tile does reveal itself, you may find it scooped up before you even have a chance to acquire it. It asks you to be patient, rely and depend on what you do know, what does come available, and do the best with it that you can, one tile at a time. Dos Rios is a game about rivers, about where they flow, how they may intersect, how they diverge. At the start of the game, the rivers will flow in a unique way depending on the variable setup. And throughout the game, depending how the players use dams to intervene, the rivers will change course. make new lands fertile, dry up others. The board changes every time the rivers flow. Dos Rios is a game I never heard of. I found it in the used games section of my local game store, and the only reason it caught my eye was the designer, Franz Benno de Long. He's the designer of one of my favorite games of all time, Fjords, and sadly, he can't make new games anymore because he passed away in 2007. The same year that Key Harvest and Biblios were released, ironically. Games he never got to play. And when we play his games, like Dos Rios, his passion lives again. We set his pieces on the table, and the world he imagined breathes for a little while longer. In Dos Rios, you often can't prevent the river from changing course. You can't stop another player from drying up your land. All you can do is respond with intention. Listen to the conversation happening on the table instead of forcing your own plans onto it. You move to new locations, harvest what you can, and wait patiently for your chance to divert the water back in your favor. Not every dam is a crisis. You can't fix every problem. You can't outrun every change. You also can't only be patient because the first player to build a certain amount of buildings wins instantly. But you do need to learn the difference between what you can or should instigate and guide versus what you can only witness and respond to. The world is loud. Everyone is shouting. No one is listening. All of us are scrambling to build farms on lands that might not be fertile anymore tomorrow, while others divert not one but sometimes both rivers for their own gain, leaving us to be frustratingly, painfully patient for an opportunity to drink again. So I try to remember. This is a conversation, and one that will still be going on long after your river meets the sea. And just because you're patiently listening doesn't mean you're not contributing to it. Sometimes you just need to wait for the right thing to say, because unfortunately the world will always be loud. It will always try to tell you how you should feel, what you should care about, what you should play, what matters. But here's the secret that no algorithm wants you to know. You choose what matters. Because you build the board. You splay the cards. You choose what you let go of. You choose what you keep. You leave behind pieces of yourself. And you hope from time to time, people are patient enough to strike up a conversation. This hobby is so much more than the 5 games in this video, or the 10 games on any top 10 list. To discover all it has to offer, this hobby sometimes demands patience. To find a game, to play it enough times to know how you truly feel about it. But when you're patient enough to engage in the conversations happening at the table, with the designers who struck it up in the first place, and the loved ones you continued the discussion with, that's when you realize the truth. Patience isn't complacency. Patience is living.